Good evening and welcome to our Brunswick City Commission regular scheduled commission meeting for Wednesday, May 20th, 2026. If we could all please stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. If we could please bow. Father God, we thank you for the times that we get to come together as a community to work hand in hand to do your most perfect will. Please guide all of us in our communities, citizens and elected officials alike, with your wisdom as we try each and every day to make Brunswick a little bit better for those coming behind us. In your son Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to start off by saying it is amazing to have so many young people with us this evening. So we are so thankful that you all are with us, and we are thankful for you all's accomplishments, but even more so that you pour into our city each and every day. So we are thankful for all of the young folks who found it in their hearts to be with us this evening. With that, I'll move on to the approval and the adoption of the May 20th, 2026 regular scheduled meeting agenda. Is there any addendums or subtractions?
Mr. Mayor, I have a couple additions to the agenda tonight.
Yep.
I'd like to make a motion to add items number 11 under city attorney's items. Motion to approve consent judgment as presented by city attorney. And then item number 12, motion to authorize the mayor to sign the agreement to purchase real estate for the Altama pedestrian project.
Any questions or concerns with the additions? Hearing none, we will take that as a motion. Is there a second? Hearing a first and a second, all those in favor show by the usual sign of aye. Aye. All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passes. Really quick, I just want to do a sound check on Commissioner Harris.
She did speak earlier and just making sure that we could
Okay.
hear her. So I do think
Okay.
she's on.
As votes move along, I just wanted to make sure that she's good, or if there's questions or anything that she has. With that, Madam Clerk, we'll move into public comments.
Dwight Jordan.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I noticed that at the beginning of most public meetings, they always eventually pledge allegiance to the flag. And we talk to this concept of liberty and justice for all. Well, I'm here to seeking justice for a travesty that happened to me in regards to a Brunswick police officer running into my vehicle. It happened January 23rd. This is February 23rd. This is March 23rd. This is April 23rd. And now we're approaching May 23rd with no results. I've had no one to speak to me from your staff, from the board, which they've told me that someone will get back in touch with me. I want to be made whole. And I think it's the responsibility of the city to engage with its employee, which is the insurer. A man named Will Tappan is the associate, and engage with them so that I could be fairly compensated for the damages of my vehicle. I have a right to have a vehicle in any state that I want in regards to state, meaning physical condition, and mine is a late model. I don't have to be put in a situation where you're forcing me, I'm being coerced into having my vehicle totaled, and then it's putting me in an economic disadvantage. So this is 4 months. So when will my voice be heard by this board, and whoever your staff is who's supposed to do this? It's not fair, and I want to be compensated, and it's just not fair. So at this, I just want to say, if it's truly liberty and justice for all, then is that selective, as we're seeing throughout this whole country right now? Is that selective justice for all? Make me whole and do what you all are supposed to do. I don't know the status of that officer as he was in pursuit. So make me whole. That's all I ask. And if we can communicate with somebody, I've been in communications with people to no avail. So do I have to keep coming back here? Or do I have to run for office? I don't know. So I want my voice heard. I want justice, not just for some, but justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, that concludes public comment.
Mm. I'm gonna assume we have his information. Okay. We will now move on to recognitions, presentations, and awards. And we have a proclamation presentation to the Coast Guard Auxiliary Station, Brunswick, United States Coast Guard, recognizing May 16th through the 22nd, 2026 as National Safe Boating Week. Don't know if we have anybody from, oh, yeah, we got some. You could please come to the front for us. Good evening. Thank you all for being with us. Right there is perfect. Thank you for everything you all do. I know you all come back usually once a year and have this conversation with us about safe boating. I know we're moving into the summer, so we want to thank you all for your service and the work that you do to keep our community safe. With that, we'll read this quick proclamation. Whereas, as millions of Americans enjoy boating, paddling, and fishing on the state's beautiful lakes and rivers, it is essential that all recreational boaters act responsibly to ensure a safe season. And whereas the vast majority of boating accidents in Georgia are caused by carelessness, inexperience, or failure to follow safety guidelines. And whereas an average of over 650 people perish in boating-related accidents nationwide annually, with over 75% of those deaths caused by drowning, which is often preventable. And whereas safe boating starts with wearing a U.S. Coast Guard approved life jacket, checking the weather, filing a boat plan, avoiding alcohol and drugs, and taking boating safety courses. And whereas the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, law enforcement, and volunteer organizations, such as the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary and the Georgia River Network, play a crucial role in promoting safe boating practices. Now, therefore, I, Cosby H. Johnson, as mayor of the city of Brunswick, along with my fellow commissioners, do hereby proclaim May 16th through the 22nd, 2026 as National Safe Boating Week and urge all citizens to behave responsibly on the water. Thank you. National safety. They were amazing. We had a crew out there that were showing life jackets for our crew. We had some wonderful young people, mentors, parents, for ensuring that we know wearing the life jacket, what you do, phone, life preserver, but you don't have to go in the water, you just have to. As we said, United States Coast Guard approved your life jacket. Now, the three big ones in your area, West Marine, Walmart, and County. Everyone they carry should be United States Coast Guard approved. We'll be on the inside, we'll open it up, and there's a big, have a bunch of words in small print. Right there, it'll say US approved. They all have a weight height requirement. So we first try out the swim through the bottom. Make sure they have on the plate on the wall. Last year they reported 0.7 fatalities boating accidents, and 7 of those, or
So of the 331,597 registered votes in St. Louis, there was 27 counties, 5 voted the top. Of the 7 counties, 7 of them can make the year one. This community has done so much to ensure that you don't have that issue. Everyone be talking, the marinas are great, we're great. One thing we can correctly also is after if you're born after January 28th, it's fall, and you have a voter sheet before you operate in order to get votes, we do. And so we offer about 7 a year, towards being hard, towards like any of the area will come. The good thing for the parents is when you take with the kid, it counts to the defensive driving course of your party. So now when you get no, you will money back. A couple things, one of the interchange in the last year is fire extinguishers on that. So the fire extinguishers now all have a big stamp on the bottom with this year. So from that year, December 31st, plus 12 years is when it expires. So it was 1998, 2010, December 31st, it expired. Thank you all for hearing this out, and be safe on the line.
The next proclamation that we have before us is a proclamation presentation to the Brunswick Historic Preservation Board, recognizing the month of May as National Historic Preservation Month. How you doing? If you'd like to take off and say some words, I know your work in our community has been amazing, so it's great to see you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, commissioners. My name is Josh Dukes. I'm the chairperson of the Historic Brunswick Preservation Board. May, as you mentioned, is National Historic Preservation Month. And that gives us a chance to recognize that preservation isn't just about saving old buildings. That's usually what people think of. It's also about protecting the places that give Brunswick its sense of identity. Brunswick has, as you all know, an extraordinary historic framework in Old Town and beyond that area. Our public squares, historic homes, churches, commercial buildings, the cemeteries that have been preserved, and all of the civic landmarks. Preservation is visible everywhere in the city around us. And in fact, the building that we're meeting in today is an example of that. When City Hall, as it used to be called, became Old City Hall in the 1950s, the clock tower outside that's so recognizable for Brunswick was in such bad condition that it actually had to be torn down. And it was removed for several decades, but it was restored with great care and attention to detail of the original design, and we're enjoying that today. The Ritz Theater is also celebrating its 125th anniversary this year, and that building was also almost a total loss because its roof completely collapsed in the 1980s, and it was almost torn down. Both of these buildings were saved because the people of Brunswick understood that the value of these places lead to or contribute to the identity of our city. Preservation also supports economic development. When historic buildings are restored and reused, they bring back life to downtown while keeping the character that makes Brunswick distinct. The Cress is a great example of that, reusing that building for new function, and they actually display a lot of the historic images, giving the identity back to the building for what used to be there previously as well. The work of the Historic Preservation Board is typically pretty quiet work. We as a board review potential projects that come before us. We encourage appropriate materials. We protect historic character and help property owners make good decisions when they're improving their buildings without erasing what makes them truly valuable and irreplaceable. This year, as we accept the city's proclamation recognizing May as Historic Preservation Month, we also do so sadly but fondly and want to do so in memory of our good friend Jerry Spencer. Jerry served on the Historic Preservation Board and was instrumental in the work of signature squares of Brunswick as well. Through his work as a landscape architect, his influence can now be seen in Brunswick's historic green spaces all over the city. Jerry helped design and restore many of the features in Brunswick's historic squares and in Oak Grove Cemetery. His work included, but isn't limited to, Hanover Square's restored fountain in the center of the square, the historic rose plantings that visitors can enjoy there, and Wright Square plans that reunited the two halves of the square to actually mirror the historic look of Hanover Square's layout as well. Also, the creative reuse of architectural pieces that were found from the old bank building that stood on the site where the Cress is now were reused as a water feature up at Mockin Square on that end of Newcastle Street. Jerry studied historic photos and documents. He drew plans that respected the original character of the squares and worked beside volunteers and contractors. And he planted and he dug and he kept showing up at those projects. Before his passing, Jerry completed the schematic designs for each of Brunswick's remaining historic squares. And that means that his work will continue to guide restoration efforts as they come in the coming years for the remaining squares. So thank you again. I think it's fitting for what he did that the proclamation that's granted today be accepted in Jerry Spencer's honor. And I hope his work reminds us that stewardship, patience, knowledge, and a love for this special place is something that we can all use a little more of. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Josh. And there isn't anything much more to add. I think what you said, especially giving credence and respect to what Jerry has done for our community, is something that we will highlight. And with that, we'll jump directly into the proclamation. Whereas historic preservation is an effective tool for managing growth and sustainable development, revitalizing neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character while enhancing livability. And whereas historic preservation is relevant for communities across the nation, both urban and rural, and for Americans of all ages, all walks of life, and all ethnic backgrounds. And whereas, as our nation prepares to celebrate its 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence and the founding of this great nation, it's important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the contributions made by many dedicated individuals in helping preserve the tangible aspects of the heritage that has shaped us as a country. And whereas this year, we also recognize the 255th anniversary of the establishment of Brunswick, our home, our city, rich with history and beauty of coastal Georgia. And whereas the National Park Service has recognized the importance of the city of Brunswick by declaring Old Town Windsor Park and Dixville National Register Historic Districts. And whereas the city of Brunswick is the steward of many historic properties, including City Hall, Old City Hall, Fire Station Number 1, and the Visitors Club at the Causeway, and has seen the benefits of historic preservations through the renaissance of downtown Brunswick. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Cosby H. Johnson, as mayor, along with my fellow commissioners, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2026 as National Historic Preservation Month in Brunswick, and call upon the people of the city of Brunswick to join their fellow citizens across the United States in recognizing this special observance. Okay. We are now going to move to recognition of Georgia Cities Week art essay and photo contest winners. And so as I call your name, if you could just come up to the front, and that's at the end, we're just going to take a picture all together. But before we get started, I want to say it is amazing to have so many entries in, but it is also amazing to see so many incredible stories, incredible pictures, and the incredible talent that resides inside of the city of Brunswick. And that talent is residing in our children because of the work of so many parents, grandparents, aunts, and uncles and communities that pour into them. So while we are celebrating the young men and women who are here today and so thankful for their amazing talent, we are also thankful for the work that you all as parents and members of their family put in to make sure that they are covered, to make sure that they are understanding the importance of how they pour into their community, but also have full grasp of their talent and what they have for the world in the future. With that, when I call your name, please come up to the front. We'll grab a picture at the end. Yeah, group picture. From Burroughs Millette Elementary School, this certificate is proudly presented to the winner of the third grade art contest, Mr. Elias Bennett. We got a teacher up here, so she's gonna probably ask y'all to recite your essays and everything else. From Goodyear Elementary School, this certificate is proudly presented to the winner of the third grade art contest winner, Miss, and if I pronounce a name wrong, say that again. Liani, thank you. Somebody knew. Somebody knew. Miss Liani Nicole Mangrum. Parents, if you feel me struggling, don't be scared to yell it out. From Goodyear Elementary School, the certificate is proudly presented to the winner of the fourth grade essay contest, Mr. Chance Horn. From Burroughs Millette Elementary School, this certificate is proudly presented to the winner of the fifth grade essay contest, Cameron Antoinette. There we go. From Goodyear Elementary School, this certificate is proudly presented to the winner of the fifth grade essay contest, Brooklyn Blythewood. This is awarded to Best Photograph. This certificate is proudly presented to the winner of the citywide photo contest, Catherine Schwartz. We understand it's graduation tonight, a whole bunch of other stuff going on, so we will make sure we get that to Catherine. This is a certificate of appreciation. This certificate is proudly presented to Sadie Benz in recognition of your participation as a judge for the City of Brunswick, Georgia Cities Week Art, Essay, and Photo Contest. Is Miss Sadie in or no? Not here, but we are thankful for our judges. There we go. One more judge I don't want to pass too quickly is Roy Copeland. Here. All right. Mr. Roy Copeland was a judge for us as well. And Norma Stiles. Miss Norma was a judge for us as well. And Miss Carolyn McDuffie. Miss Carolyn McDuffie was a judge for us as well. We are thankful for our judges and really thankful if everyone can stand up and give an amazing round of applause to our winners. If you all stand right there, we're going to grab a picture with you.
Okay, I'm gonna have you guys shift a little bit this way. Just so we're a little bit more centered. Okay. All right, now squeeze together, guys. I know it's weird. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Then y'all keep smiling, family.
Parents and family members, if you would like a picture of the photo we took, and make sure everybody, we have a little something for you. If you would like a picture that we took, please give us your email and we will make sure to email you all of the pictures that we have as well.
Mayor, can I get a point of privilege really quick?
You surely can.
So the essay that some of the students wrote, it was, please write an essay describing what you would do if you were mayor of Brunswick one day. And whoever wrote, they have some incredible things that they would want to do. So continue to stay on them parents about leadership. It doesn't have to be political leadership. It can be principal, superintendent, president of a hospital, but this is amazing right here. So hopefully we're modeling good work for you all to come before us, because we won't be up here always. So I look to see some of you all in local office, state office, national office. So this is amazing. So I just wanted to say that.
That is perfect. Moving along, we will move on to nominations for the Glen Brunswick Hospital Authority. And we have 3 names before us, which is Mr. Dr. John P. George. There we go. If you guys could come to the front when I call your name. See y'all later. Carson Jones Hooks and Mr. Robert Scott Spence. Yeah. And we've had the CEO of our hospital, Chrissy Jordan, with us back to back. So we must be doing something right. We gotta. No, I know we provide these names to you all, and you all provide a decision. I wanted to stop for a second. This is replacing the expiring term of Miss Valerie Hepburn, and I know we have 2 here and 3 before us. If we did happen to have any questions, I'm happy that they availed themselves to us to make some time. So at this point in time, I wanted to open it up to the commission if there were any questions or comments for the nominees that we have before us. I just like to do a Jeopardy count in my head, so it's like 15 seconds.
I just like to mess with my former superintendent. No, I really don't. No, tell me why you want to serve on the hospital authority.
So I spent the last 35 years of my life serving the community in a role as a teacher, as a coach, as a principal, and as a superintendent. And now that I'm retired, I want to continue to serve. And I just think the best opportunity for me to serve is on the hospital authority.
Thank you. I'd like to provide that opportunity for you if you'd like to as well. Oh, we got one that's online, so we're gonna ask you to come to the mic so she can make sure Commissioner Harris can hear you.
So my name is John George. I'm an orthopedic doctor, practiced in Savannah, and I grew up in Darien. I went to school there in Brunswick at Brunswick High School and Jane Macon and Brunswick Junior College, and then went off to Georgia and practiced in Savannah. Kind of always felt like that McIntosh and Glen were my home, and so my official residence is back in Glen County now, and I was asked to look and see whether or not this is something that I'd be interested in. So I've been involved in several hospitals as owners in the past, and currently am involved in a hospital in Waynesboro, Georgia. And I feel like that some of the stuff that we've done in the past could be helpful to this community. So when I was asked to put myself up, and I felt like that it's time at this stage of my life to kind of give back to my community. So that is why I am trying to be on the hospital authority.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
I just wanted to say something.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say something to Mr. George. At first, when you came up, I said, I don't know him. I've never seen him. So I looked over your resume and saw that you did residency at Memorial Sloan Kettering, and they saved my sister's life. So I know that you know your stuff because Sloan is an amazing hospital in New York. So that just stood out for me. So I just wanted to tell you, thank you.
Yeah, that's an interesting story. Being from Darien, the first time that I ever went to New York, I went to do my residency, and I spent the night on the floor of somebody's apartment. And they ended up getting in, and it's an amazing place. I train 10% of the doctors in the country. And we had the opportunity to be at Sloan Kettering as part of our residency program. So I spent a lot of time up there, and they do a lot of good things. So it was a good experience. Thank you.
We appreciate it. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'm assuming, do we have to take a vote to put these forward? Brian? All three? So 3 different votes, or can they be as a slate? All right, there we go. Okay, well, we have the 3 nominees before us. I'll open it for motion.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion that we nominate Dr. John George, Mr. Carson Jones Hooks, and Robert Spence to the Glen Brunswick Hospital Authority.
Hearing a first, do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing a first and a second, all those in favor show by a sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you all for spending a little time with us this evening. Thank you. With that, we will move on to public hearings. The abandonment petition number 26-01 from D&L Associates 2, I'm assuming, LLC, owner of 1817 Glen Ave, requesting the abandonment of a 20-foot public alley between 1817 Glen Avenue and 2402 Talmadge Avenue into a single parcel. Director Hunter. That was a lot to read.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor and Commission. I'm going to do something a little bit different tonight. It's been a while since we've had an abandonment. I think it's been about 3 years. So typically the abandonments that we are approached about involve pieces of city right-of-way that are functionally obsolete. In many cases, they have already been incorporated into neighboring properties. So what we do is we research the history of these alleyways to determine whether or not they may have been abandoned in the past. Sometimes we find that they have been, but the records are incomplete. But we bring these before you typically because they are already properties that basically are being utilized by property owners around them. This first application this evening is a good example of that. There's a 20-foot alleyway that runs through the middle of the Popeyes on Glen Avenue and into the middle of the block. It has never been opened, but it is still on the record. So part of this process is cleaning up these property records so that the owners can more fully utilize the areas around them. We also have these unusual 5-foot alleys and sometimes smaller that are nicknamed honey alleys. They provided access to waste disposal in the 1800s, and they pop up on these maps occasionally, but many times they have buildings built on top of them. So this process helps clean up those records. Something else I'm going to do a little bit differently tonight is instead of doing the presentation on each of these applications myself, I'm going to turn it over to our new planner, Hugh Blackstock. I may or may not have met him, but I think the rest of the commission has. So he'll carry us through these 2 applications, but we'll still be here with any other questions. So thank you.
Good evening. As Director Hunter said, my name is Hugh Blackstock. I'm the new planner here. I've met several of you, but I don't think I've met everyone. The first abandonment application is for the 20-foot public alley behind the Popeyes on Glen Avenue. The alley runs from an entrance on Talmadge Avenue down to about mid-block, and it affects 6 parcels, 3 of which are owned by the applicant. The planning staff does recommend granting the abandonment with the condition that the applicant and owner of the parcels addressed 817 Glen Avenue provide an easement for access for water and sewer systems to the parcels addressed 1811 Glen Avenue and 1815 Glen Avenue.
Oh, my bad. I was reading through what was in front of me. Questions or comments?
Hugh, what happens? I'm looking at the boundary line. Will they disappear? I mean, you say he owns 3, so there are 2 other parcels. Will their boundary lines expand in the middle of that yellow, or what exactly?
What will happen is the current right-of-way will be divided in half, and it will go to any abutting parcel within the constraints of that parcel. So there are 6 going down through there, and basically each parcel would get a 10-foot section of that that's in their current boundaries.
So would all the deeds be rewritten to accommodate, to show that, or, new description on a plaque written to show the change, or how does that happen?
Yes, that is my understanding, that the owners would have to apply individually for theirs, and then we would turn it over.
That's right. We would draft quitclaim deeds to the various owners. So the city would be quitclaiming whatever interest there is in the abandonment. And then once those are filed, GIS would recognize and,
The new description that's written.
correct. That is correct. And then they would address it through new GIS parcels. I don't know if they are combining all of the Popeyes parcels together as one. Okay, that's the idea. Okay. So, but the other ones, the ones that are not owned by the Popeyes owners, or the owners of the parcels with Popeyes, would just come to the middle and be newly platted. I won't say platted, I'm sorry, newly recognized property lines on GIS.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question. My question is regarding that strip of property that intersects that right of way, right next to the Popeyes. We received something previously about that property and the cleaning of that property, and there was some question with who would clean it and who wouldn't clean it.
So that, Commissioner Harris, that's actually part of the impetus for us to move forward with this abandonment. As you know, we had some urban camping issues within that area. And so we worked with the property owner to understand where all these lines were. That was primarily dealing with the former All Good Pest Control location. And he worked with us to help clear that area out. But this would help definitively address that issue. So we're only dealing with property owners and not having any city responsibility for cleaning up anything that takes place within those areas.
Okay, I was hoping that this was going to help to mitigate that problem as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Any additional questions or comments? Hearing none, we will open it for public hearing. And so step to the side real quick. With that, we will open it for public comment. Seeing none, we will close public comment on item number 6. Any additional questions or comments from the commission? And hearing none, we will open it for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I like to move to approve the abandonment petition number 26-01 from DD and L Associates to LLC, owner of 1817 Glen Avenue, requesting the abandonment of a 20-foot public alley between 1817 Glen Avenue and 2402 Talmadge Avenue into a single parcel.
Hearing the first, do I have a second?
Second.
Hearing the first and a second, all those in favor show by the sign of aye. Aye. All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passes. We will now move on to number 7, abandonment petition number 26-02 from AJ Berry, the applicant requesting the abandonment of a 5-foot alley that bisects 2829 Norwich Street on behalf of Iglesia de Dios Incorporated. I butchered that, so somebody's going to be like, you weren't even close. But Director Hunter.
Yes, sir. And similarly, we'll turn this over to Hugh to run us through, but it's a very similar application.
Abandonment application 2602 is another alley. This one's a little bit smaller, and it is contained within one parcel. The parcel is addressed 2829 Norwich Street, and that is on the corner of Norwich and S Streets. The parcel, the alleyway does contain a public sewer. The applicant has been in contact with water and sewer, but the actual pipe will have to be abandoned separately. As part of the as part of the recommendation, staff does recommend to move to abandon the property with the condition that they are given permission from joint water and sewer to abandon the actual pipe itself.
Questions or comments? Just for my own edification, does it normally work in this order where the land is abandoned and then the utility, or is it normal that you probably abandon the utility first and then it doesn't matter?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wondered.
That was my question too, Mayor.
Okay.
There's not really a chicken or the egg here. It's if one doesn't happen, the other doesn't happen. So it would have to be both.
And have we had
So
any kind of conversation with JWs? Okay. All right. Good deal. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll open it for public comment. And with that, we will close the public comment period. Any other questions or comments from the commission? Hearing none, we will open it for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve application AB 26-02 with the staff recommended conditions, which include the concurrent abandonment of the joint water and sewer line on alley.
Hearing the first, do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing the first and a second, all those in favor show by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you, Director, and great to meet you. Thank you. With that, we'll move on to items to consider for approval. Number 8, consider approval of April 15, 2026 and May 6, 2026 regular scheduled meeting minutes. Any addendums or subtractions? Hearing none, we'll open it for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the regular scheduled meeting minutes from April 15th, 2026 and May 6th, 2026 as submitted.
Hearing a first, do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing a first and a second, all those in favor show by the sign of aye. Aye. All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passes. With that, we'll move on to number 9. Consider approval of the renewal of general liability and property insurance. City Manager McDuffie.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This is a request to approve the renewal of our general liability and property insurance policy. This policy is through GERMA, and the city participates through GMA and the GERMA pool for insurance coverage. It establishes our liability limits and provides the coverage for general liability, public officials liability, law enforcement, and other areas. The quote for this year is $614,231, which is an 11% increase over last year. A part of that increase was attributable to the general liability premium, which increased 32%. I have requested that that be reviewed, and that, you know, if there's an adjustment, it will have that go down, but have not gotten a confirmation of that. It increased from $55,000 to $73,000. The public officials liability insurance increased by 3.7%. The law enforcement premium increased by 10.3% from $85,000 to $94,000. And when I spoke with the insurance, they said that was based on the number of officers that we have and an increase in our staffing levels. The automobile liability increased from $165,000 to $183,000, a 10.4% increase. And again, we have 236 vehicles that are being covered under that, which is an increase in the number of vehicles as well. The property and mobile equipment has increased by 5.4% from $96,000 to $101,000. That covers a $42.3 million total value of property and mobile equipment. The crime premium was unchanged. The equipment breakdown increased slightly, just by $200. And then that provides that total of $614,000 after a dividend credit of $8,100. We are requesting for approval of our insurance so that we can pay the first portion of our premium and have our insurance established. Fred McGinty, who is our local broker, he's here if you have any additional questions. Thank you.
Questions or comments from the commission?
I have. Ms. McDuffie. I know you said we have an increase, looking at number 5, the automobile liability increase is almost about $18,000. How many more vehicles, or how many did we cover last year?
I would have to check. I don't know exactly how many, but maybe about, Fred, do you have that information? Mm-hmm.
And okay, so basically almost like $1,000 a vehicle, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, that's all.
Okay, thank you.
Questions or comments?
I have a couple, Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind. And maybe this is for Mr. McGinty. Good to see you again. I noticed that we're not carrying under the line of coverage. We don't have anything listed for police animal mortality. Can you just describe that, what that is covering if we were to have it, and Have we traditionally not had it in the past? I mean, I do know we keep adding canine officers and it's very expensive to buy a dog and train them. And so I'm just curious, if it's a $200 premium wouldn't kind of make sense to me.
It is life insurance on the police dogs.
Uh-huh.
The premiums, I don't know what they are. No, they're not $200. It's more than that, but
Yeah.
I can find out for you and get to the city manager. if you
I
like.
think it would be good
Yeah.
just to review that,
Sure.
as we continue to build out that force. And then, the other question I had was what's this, failure to supply utilities? Do we have coverage for that? And I think it's $500,000. But I'm just curious, since we don't, obviously provide water and sewer, we provide trash, but is that accurate? Do we need to have that much coverage?
It's a great question. And this is a package policy that's designed basically for all cities.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of cities have utilities, power companies, or water and sewer, or whatever. So that's included in there. There's no additional charge for the city.
Okay, it's
for
just
that.
lumped in because
Doesn't
it's like
apply
a
to
group
y'all.
policy. Perfect. All right. So if we strike it, we can't save any money.
Right, unfortunately.
Awesome. All right, thank you. No further questions.
Any additional questions or comments?
I do have one.
Mhm.
Ms. McDuffie, is this in our budget for 27 or is in the current fiscal year, the premium rate that we have to pay?
This is in 27. We'll pay portion of it in 26 and then some of it in 27.
But 27 fiscal year? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Harris, you good?
Yes, sir, I'm good. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. If there are no more questions or comments, I will open it for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to move that we approve the renewal of general liability and property insurance.
Hearing a first, do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing a first and a second. All those in favor show by sign of aye. Aye. All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passed.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. With that, we will move on to number 10. Consider tentative approval of fiscal year 2026 and 2027 proposed budget. City Manager McDuffie.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you all for the opportunity for presenting the budget. As you know, we normally present it a couple of weeks ago, but I'm thankful to be here today. The City of Brunswick proposed budget for 2027. I just want to say that we have done just great work over the last few years. The city is thriving. We have brought back our recreation programs. We have established our transit service, which started last calendar year. We have started a housing program, and all of these things attribute to the quality of life and the services that are being provided to our citizens. And as we move forward, we will continue to provide efficient and effective services to our citizens. We will provide capital improvements to our parks, capital improvements to our roads, and to our storm drainage to mitigate flooding, which is a big thing in our community. I am so proud of what we've done in the last year to improve these things and make the lives of our citizens better. And as we move forward with the new budget, we will continue to maintain and provide the efficiency and the support to our citizens and our community. The budget that's presented to you, of course, is in the same format that is normally given. We start with our principal officials, which includes our mayor and commissioners and our appointed officials. We have our transmittal letter, which basically goes through some of the things that I just mentioned in terms of the milestones that the city has provided over the last year and that we are maintaining and improving as we go forward. The budget for 2027 is $24,567,838. That is a 2.3% increase over the approved budget for last year. If you note, a couple of years ago, for the last 4 years, we've grown about 20% in our budget over the last 4 years. This year is a little bit slower growth than has been in the past, but we understand that, you know, as things move forward, we will continue to provide the services at the level that continues the service to our citizens. So if you continue through the budget information, the budget highlights include, as I stated, a $24.5 million budget. That's about $500,000 more than last year. The budget last year was $24,016,000. As you know, our largest revenue items are property taxes, sales taxes, and other taxes, which makes up about 90% of our total revenue for the general fund, a total of $21.8 million. We are requesting that we appropriate a portion of our fund balance to support the budget in the amount of $600,000. The increases in the budget basically are in our insurance premium tax and franchise fees and citations that are in our revenues. In our expenses, as you know, our largest expense is our personnel cost, which is $17.4 million, including salaries, benefits, pension, health insurance, and taxes. One of our other larger expenses is utilities, which we pay our electrical and water. And then we have our insurance, which is a high ticket item, as you've seen from the previous approval. And then we have machine and equipment as $169,000. Our authorized personnel, we are not requesting any change in our authorized personnel, and we will be budgeting for about 236 personnel in the budget. There are no real changes in the personnel, although we do have the co-responder that we hired for the police department that will continue with that position. And we also had a reassignment in our public works area of our clean community coordinator. The budget does not include a cost of living increase. We are looking to do a compensation study to just analyze where we are to determine if in the future when we could adjust salaries if needed. Additional highlights in the budget include $162,000 for the Axon public safety equipment, $40,000 for the land bank, $75,000 for coastal outreach soccer, and $450,000 of a transfer to the micro transit system. In your budget, it shows the schedule, but I would like to just go through the SPLOST expenditures, which is behind the schedule first. The SPLOST expenditures for this year that's being proposed is $150,000 in our integrated software and IT switches. We have public safety, the police department, $160,000 to replace their firearms as well as support their vehicle payments, lease payment. We have in the fire department a lease payment for the fire truck, and then lease payments for turnout gear and SCBA gear for the fire department. And then in public works, we have a lease payment for our vehicle of $114,000. And then we hope to move forward with purchasing accounting software for our finance office. In addition to those expenses, during this fiscal year, we hope to have additional drainage projects totaling $1.5 million, and that's basically the city's portion of those projects. Those projects will be supported by additional grant dollars, so that's not the total cost of those projects, but we are planning to do projects in the Riverside area, Parkwood, and the West Side Tide Control. For road improvements, we have about $6.5 million of budgeted funds to do resurfacing of Altama, MLK, the Norwich, and also for the roundabout at Bay and Newcastle. Total SPLOST expenditures for this year would be approximately $9 million. The budget schedule we are moving through, as you Normally, we would have a budget presentation. That's tonight. And I'm also asking for the proposed budget to be approved so that we can advertise the public notice on the proposed budget and conduct the public hearing as is required by the state on June 3rd. We still have time to make revisions and changes to the budget to get to our final approval, which is tentatively scheduled on Wednesday, June 17th. Our fiscal year start July 1st. We must have an approved budget approved by June 30th. If you move over to the summary documents, we have our proposed revenue, which I stated basically 2.3% increase overall. That includes a 2.7% increase on property taxes, which is smaller than what our growth and inflation showed, but because of some of the exemptions, we made a change on those. The sales tax is estimated to be about a 2.2% increase, and then an overall increase in taxes of about 3.3%. There's a slight increase, 2.6% on our permits and license, and then no change in intergovernmental. Our fees increased substantially, mainly because we are hoping to implement the school camera system, and also we had increased fees in our recreation programs. Our municipal court, that decreased because last year we did not see the revenue. We thought we were going to have additional revenue from the Georgia State Patrol and additional citations. I think that's going to be closer to what we budget for this year, for the current fiscal year and the next fiscal year. Under the miscellaneous revenue, there was a change because of the Marside property. We no longer have that rental in this budget, so that was taken out. We still expect to have about $350,000 of interest income to support the budget. And again, it's $24.5 million. As I stated, property tax and sales tax are our largest tax revenue. Sales tax represents about 43% of the revenue. Property tax is 35%, for a total of 78% for those two revenue items. If you move on to the expenditure, there were a lot, again, it's a maintenance budget, so we're maintaining our services, maintaining our staffing levels. There are no changes of staffing. The most increases that we have in the budget is to support our pension plan, which went from 1.4 million to 1.5 million. We have increases in our electricity cost and in our insurance, as I just reviewed as well. We have some increases in our landscaping. The city invests a lot in our landscaping, right-of-way maintenance, and things like that. And I just want to say publicly, that's one of the reasons we have been voted nationally for being the prettiest city in Georgia and one of the prettiest cities in the nation. And it takes our investment. And, you know, I'm really proud of that because it does show that we care about our city and are taking care of our green spaces and looking very well. The other changes were a decrease in our transfers to other funds. That includes the E911, CDBG, and the Roosevelt Harris Center. Again, for the $24.5 million. As always, the police, fire, public works represents about 60% of our budget. The governmental administration and general administration's about 25%, and the other is made up through planning, recreation, and other programs. Our authorized strength was not changed. We are not budgeting for every position. We'll open and have open positions during the year. Total personnel cost in the budget is $17.4 million. That includes $13.8 million of salaries, $1.5 million of pension, $1.1 million of health insurance, and about $900,000 for our taxes. There's no COLA, as I stated. Again, there's no change in our staffing levels, and our machinery and equipment, it's less than it has been in years because we bought a lot of things over the last couple of years, so we are very good, not having to replace a lot this year. $169,000 is, what's budgeted for machine and equipment. The budget is laid out as it has been in the past. You have, line item budgets for your revenue. You have, summary pages for each department, and then line items for each, area, of operation of the budget. With that, I'll take any questions or ask that you consider approval so that we can advertise the budget for public view. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Jumping in and knowing that this is still very much so a working document, and staff is continuously open for the one-on-one meetings for anything that needs to be delved into, or changes that need to be made by the majority up here. And so approval tonight doesn't mean just approval. It's keeping it moving in the process.
Right, only for
Um,
advertisement.
Questions and comments?
I just have two questions or statements. One, I know you said, looking at your highlight page, there wasn't any evidence of where we requested a 0.5 personnel for the tax specialist. Yeah.
Wait,
So the
so
tax,
that they'll have two full-time versus,
it would be 2 part-time.
two part-time?
1 point, yes,
Oh,
yes.
well, that should have been in the clerk's budget.
It was reset at the, well, anyway, it was.
We can make that change.
Okay.
No big.
And also, I passed, thank you.
Questions or comments from the commission? Yeah, go ahead.
The coordinator, the coordinator position, cleanup coordinator position, was that a lateral move, or was it one move, one position eliminated and one created, so therefore it's still the same? It's not really something brand new that's been budgeted for its finance?
It's not anything being new. It's kind of a reassignment of duties.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Ms. Helm.
Yes, sir.
One
Mayor
quick
Pro Tem.
question. Ms. McDuffie, you and I have had a chance to meet and go over this in detail. One thing that did come up in hindsight after that meeting is, as we visit on the next time about this budget, I would love to maybe try to dive a little bit more into our rec department. Obviously, it's been a huge asset to bring it back to the city, and it's doing great things for our community. But we have 17 staff assigned to that department. And I know as we brought them back into the city, into the fold, we wanted to kind of look at other opportunities for that portion of our team to be able to generate some revenue. And but I'd just like to drill down a little bit more at the time to figure out, one thing that jumped out was they have a full-time aquatics person, and so but the pool's not open all the time. So I'd just like to talk through that process, and do they serve other roles when they're not doing that, and those kind of things. But other than that, I think it's a solid. Obviously, we want to see sales tax go up and property collection, property tax revenue go up. So we'll continue to work hard on that.
Thank you.
Questions or comments?
I've already met with.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Mayor, I have a one-on-one tomorrow, but I do want to address the emphasis on economic development, because in looking at our budget, the emphasis that I see on economic development is targeted only to the downtown area. And I'm not understanding that, because the entirety of the city needs developing. it needs that economic stimulus. But when I look at the budget, we don't have, we don't have an economic, we don't have an economic, development, director. And so I'm trying to understand, what's not happening in that area and not being considered in that area, as to not having that economic development person, in place. And when I look at it, I see I've looked at DDA's information. They're adding a person, and that person is going to be over, buildings. But we don't have that person as our economic development person that's looking at the entirety of the city of Brunswick and not just downtown. We have an entire city outside of downtown. And so that's my question. And as I look at that budget, it does not lead me into that, which I'll get into more with the city manager tomorrow. And I wanted to also, uh, I know Mayor Pro Tem addressed the recreation department, but to also ask him in those questions that he has he gone and spoken with the director?
Commissioner Harris, I have not had a chance to chat with Director Booker. Those were questions that literally came up this afternoon as I was finalizing for this meeting, but look forward to meeting with the city manager and Director Booker.
Okay, just kind of wondering, because I know we afford all of the directors that opportunity to speak with them regarding their departments. And then it was the furthering of the economic development, and then it's a couple other things, but I'll touch on those tomorrow because I don't want to prolong time tonight. But just wanted to hit that because that stands out to me really. Stands out a lot to me in that budget because I don't see us moving and furthering our economic development any place but downtown. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Harris. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll open it for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we tentatively approve the budget for fiscal year 26-27 as proposed.
Hearing a first, do I hear a second?
And I'm just making sure before you stated that tonight is just the approval to say, okay, we see what she's presented, you can move on.
Yep,
We
this
need
is the,
Ten-
approval based on state law in order to advertise the budget for public hearing. And that's what this tentative approval is, so that we have a tentative budget to advertise.
Okay.
Yes.
so amendments can still be made, things can still be changed. This is not the finalized budget.
So I'm just gonna say second. I won't go into other stuff, but second.
Gotcha. We have a first and a second. All those in favor show by the usual sign of aye. Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you, City Manager. With that, we'll move on to number 11, the consent judgment.
Yes. I will be as brief as humanly possible. And I will share my screen so you can see these. These are requests related to real estate and litigation, but they're relatively harmless. So I'm just going to bring them over tonight in open session. Should be sharing my screen and you should be able to see. This is a consent order. I think these are related to the College Park Phase 2 improvements. Those have been completed. They are done. But as a result of some of the parcels that we had to collect, compile, put together, whatever, we did have to file one condemnation action. We've been working with the parties involved. You can see the heading there. And this is a consent order that their attorney and myself, we prepared to close this one out. We've already deposited the money into the registry of the court. It's $14,400. It is being held in the registry of the court, and we will close this case out upon the approval of this consent order, which essentially is agreeing that that is the appropriate price to pay for that piece of property and that the construction was completed without issue. And we will continue to allow them to access their property. Very good outcome for everyone involved, essentially.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll open it for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent judgment as printed by City Attorney Corey.
Hearing a first, do I hear a second? Hearing a first and a second, all those in favor show by the sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passes.
Okay.
And with that, we will move on to number 12, land acquisition.
Keeping them moving. This is an agreement to purchase real estate for the Altama pedestrian improvements. I think over the time, similar to what happened with College Park, as we make our way through these phases of these projects, we are required to go and negotiate and purchase small pieces of private property from individuals so that we can make sure that we have the space necessary to complete the pedestrian improvements. This is a contract for one of those properties. The sum is $4,900. You see that is 300 square feet permanent construction and maintenance easements along that portion of Altama where these pedestrian improvements are taking place. So I believe this item would require, if there is such a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the purchase agreement to purchase real estate. That's all.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll open it for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to authorize you to sign the agreement to purchase real estate for the Atama pedestrian project.
Hearing a first, do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing a first and a second, all those in favor show by the sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passes. No, nothing. There we go.
We'll eliminate the need for any executive session.
There we go. You said no need.
No need.
There we go. We'll open it for a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adjourn.
Hearing a first, do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing a first and second, all those in favor show by the sign of aye. Aye. All those opposed, the same. Hearing no, motion passes. We are adjourned.
Good night.
Good night.